Today is Happy to Hump Day. Wednesday. Yay. Okay, what do we got up there? We got nothing up there. Okay. Let's get something up there. There's J4X. There's the Swiss. You can see the Swiss is heading down, so the dollar's heading down. Let's see. There is the fact check spreadsheet right there. Come on, you can do this. There you go. And let's move that over a little bit. Once it wicks up. There we are. There's that. And then let's get Chicago Quant up there. There's Chicago Quant. All right, we're rolling. We're rolling with the homies. Okay, IVB. So, good morning to you. It's really caving in here in the United States. Biden's going to have to say something about this whole disaster. And this is not going to go away. They're working on a special prosecutor now at this point. I thought that we'd already seen the biggest scandal in history, which was the overthrow of Donald Trump. You know, the coup by the FBI and the CIA and President Obama and Secretary of State, Clinton. That's under investigation. No, that's on. People are under indictment at this point. From that, the media is just not covering it. And I mean, I thought that was going to be the biggest scandal in American history. I mean, it makes Watergate look like nothing, or the Teapot Dome scandal look like nothing. But now, the Biden situation is off the rails. It is off the rails. I don't even know how that's going to play into this election. Besides, obviously, it's becoming a disaster, in the making. It's not going to go away. Even if Biden won, he'd be impeached. There's no way in the world he would survive this. It's so criminal what he's done. So, I'm not sure, to me, I thought last Tuesday when this first broke, I thought the markets treated the funds, I thought the funds were starting to treat the market like as if Trump had won. In other words, you sell on good news. You don't buy on good news, you sell on good news. Because you've already been buying. It's like buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay? And it looked like the market was doing a selling thing, And it is, but it's not doing it in any fanfare, that's for sure. And you can see that the dollar's going down. Let's take a look at this a little bit more. You can see here with the Swiss, the dollar's been heading down. The Swiss is obviously heading down with it. And you can see like the euro. Let's jump over to the euro real quick. And you can see the euro's lifting up, It's that action. At the same time, we see very, very, let's see if we can find it here, right there. We see very, very little. There's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's moving fine and steady because that's what it should be doing in a calamity like this. It's an uncertainty, and the Bitcoin should be looking strong. That's what I was expecting out of the Bitcoin. When calamity occurs, it's supposed to be strong, not go sell off with the rest of the gang, And then you can see here the stock market has no real direction. In other words, they're taking their profits. That's the William O'Neill cup. That's the handle. So it's the cup and handle of the saucer, which is down here. And chances are this thing's going to go zoom to the moon, Alice. Does that all make sense to you, IVB? Because it ain't going to go away. Every day it gets worse. What was on that laptop? And now there's a second laptop. And what is on them is totally smoking guns fingerprints all over it of the whole Biden family. It's a disaster. Total disaster. And then it'll be very fascinating over the next 48 to 72 hours. Biden's got to come out. He's got to come out the door. He just has to. There is no choice. He's got to come out. He's got to deal with this. He's got to tell us, he's got to answer to it. Right now, all they keep on putting is statements out that it's a smear campaign. And what else? They don't deny it. That's the problem, is they won't deny it since Tuesday. So what's it, 7 days now they won't deny this is true. It's got the currency markets, I think, looking very firm, because in the end result is that usually the dollar goes down when the stock markets are trying to lift. So it's really going to explode. Every day it gets clearer why Trump will get reelected. Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he was gonna win election night, and then it's just gonna be a bunch of lawsuits because of all these, you know, criminals type of stuff that's going on with the voting, ballots and so forth. Now, the Supreme Court said that yesterday that the state of Pennsylvania can use ballots up to 3 days after the election, but they can't do ballot mining anymore. So, in other words, they can't just send out these ballots naked. You have to contact the clerk to get the ballot to go, the normal way, the legal way. You have to do it, an absentee ballot. None of this bullshit stuff, where it's fake ballots and no signatures. So that is probably the way it's all going to play out. Trump wins in a landslide election night. The media will try to say that there's no decision, but more than likely, I would think that he'll get his 270 some odd electoral votes that he needs from the legal states, and then what'll happen is that they'll whine and they'll tell us how much that he didn't win the popular vote. It'll be like, yeah, right, who cares? We're not a democracy. And so I think that's how it's going to play out. You can see the currencies. Let's go back to the currencies. You can see it here on the J4X how the Swiss is heading down, which means the dollar's heading down. And maybe this time they take out these lows. In the stock markets, as we have right there, there's let's refresh that. That's the NASDAQ 100, and you can see it's just kind of hanging there. Now, is it going to make a break to this here for the rest of the handle and then take off, or it's so hard to say there. Here, same situation with the S&P 500 right there. Let's reload that. But this is now between the coup to get rid of Trump before he was even elected by the Obama administration and the Democrat Party and the CIA and the FBI is probably the biggest scandal in history. And now Biden now has done his best to step on top of that. A sitting vice president that just sold for tens of millions of dollars influence and opportunity. So it's huge. It's just enormously huge. And the media, only was it the New York Post and the Fox News is covering it. Nobody else is talking about it. Oh, the Wall Street Journal has jumped in too. The Wall Street Journal is now part of it. But after that, no one's even mentioning a word. I just want to see the huge bull gap if Trump gets reelected and then the profit taking. See, I think we're seeing the profit taking right now. That's what I think. And then what happens is that the markets start, in other words, bull gap and then no selling. See, I think that's how it's going to play out. So I think and then we should see like a weaker dollar to some extent, or a sideways dollar throughout that whole action. So in other words, the euro should stay firm. Trump will come and fix Europe after he gets done fixing us. He's very close to having us complete. That's why all this stuff is coming out. Trump's going around campaigning. I'm not a politician. He isn't. He's not a politician. He says, I've given billions of dollars up to be here, because I love my country. And that's all it stands at this point. And the people are grooving on that. They are. And people are lining up for kilometers to vote for Trump. I mean, it's insane. Republicans never have pre-votes this big. Never. We're always behind. It's always the Democrats that have, pre-election voting going on, and it's, the Democrats come in with a big gap lead. We're like 2-1, 3-1 against the Democrats right now. It's huge. Republicans have been out registering Democrats now, something like 2.5-1. I mean, it's just the media is hiding it all. It's all, and then the world's going to go, oh, really? What was happening, huh? That's, when you just follow the same medias. Also, speaking about media, here's something that's very interesting for traders in general right now. And that is that not all of it is interesting for traders, is what I'm speaking about. It's important information. But Michael Bloomberg's thinking about selling parts of his company. And, how many years have I been saying here that Bloomberg is just another waste of media, and sooner or later he's the soft dollar king, and sooner or later it's going to run out. And all of a sudden, there's talk now that Michael Bloomberg is thinking about selling to Ackerman, the fund, the hedge fund, a big chunk of the company. And I think that's the writing on the wall, that the media is getting ready to die. I keep on saying this is a death rattle to the media. This is a death rattle to the Democrat Party. And I think that just that news coming out today, that they may sell a part of Bloomberg, says to me that the media is starting to realize they better get out of their media position, because they're going to lose a lot of money holding on to it at this point. And so that's where we're at. All right, let's see. Where are we now? So we were looking at the Swiss. We saw let's take a look at the euro. See what the euro, it's looking like the opposite, the mirror image of this. So, when it comes to the euro itself, the dollar is going down. The euro is showing firmness. What was interesting is the cable really showed some life in it also at the same time. And you can see here, this is making a big dash up to the high area. And let's put that, not there. I think it's right there. Yeah, there it is right there. You see the same thing going on here. What is that? 2 days in a buy. What's that? Line 14, right? Yeah, 2 days in a buy. Whoop. Right there, you can see it. 2 days in a buy. And 5 weeks in a sell. And you can see here it is through the weekly buy here on a Wednesday, which is pretty impressive. Usually it's that Thursday action, but then when it's currencies, you start to see that. So you can see we're starting to get some buying going on in the weekly. We're in a daily buy since here 2 days back. This is the third day now in a buy. You can see it's lifting fine, probably coming up into this 19 area stuff. And like I said, I would expect Trump to clean up. He's been working along with Mexico and Canada, and things are moving along very positively. And I think that he'll jump over to helping out Europe next. I think that could be the next thing. Here in Mexico, I've been saying for a while that I believe Trump might win. They just look at me and say, no way, look at the polls. But yeah, as you said, polls are part of the political game. Oh, God, yeah. Them and that betting service, the same thing. I think the Clinton election year, back in 2016, how Mrs. Clinton was leading in the betting polls all the time up until the last day, and then all of a sudden it exploded. What happens, I understand George Soros put out over $6 million or $7 million. It's a cheap advertisement, really, when you think about it. He just kept on buying Hillary Clinton calls, in a sense, buying the Hillary Clinton futures. And what's the worst case he does? He loses $6 million. I mean that's like one TV ad that he's paying for. He puts out up like $150 million in TV ads, $200 million. So over a 12-month period or something like that, supposedly he's paying for Antifa, the military arm of the Democrat Party right now. That's burning the cities, that type of thing. And he's also financing Black Lives Matters. So when you spend $4 or $5 or $6 million on Biden futures contracts in the betting of who wins, it's just like a TV ad. One TV ad is $4 or $5 million. So it's going to be interesting. I would expect a sideways, and if people are tuning in just now, we're looking at all this information that I'm describing about the politics, that it should give us a sideways down dollar, or at least sideways. And then not until there's an explosion in real growth, like beyond anything we've had in the last 3 years under Trump, but explosive growth. Then I would start to think that you would see the dollar move up a little bit because of inflation, that type of thing. It's not like it's a fundamental thing. But again, we follow our quantitative. We're looking at this. We're into the quantitative side of this, not the fundamental side. I'm just telling you what I expect to see. That is that. Let's jump over to the cable. Let's see what that looks like. That's not it. Right there. There we are. And there's cable. You see cable's making that nice dash also. It is in the buy right there from the pretty much the first half hour of trading last night. And it's moving along fine. Let's take a look at it over on J4X. right there. And you can see, come on, mines. Come on, you can do this. There it is, loaded. Loading, 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 loading. As you can see here, the white line has pierced the dashed line there. And you can see it's chasing after the purple line. And we got a hinky ashy green again. So showing strength in there also at the same time. And so you can see, matter of fact, we're through the time manifold. Last week it went into the weekly buy. And so that's line 13. So right there, I guess we go this way. So last night I did put it on the spreadsheet that it was in a buy. And so, because when I was doing this, it was already up. It was like an hour and a half opened already, so I could put the buy in there. And so you can see the strength is there. And again, maybe this is going to go visit the 34s this time. Sounds like they've got something going on in a positive way with the Brexit. So that's cool, Let's get that Brexit going. Let's get it the rock. Actually, what we can do is, I think that's how I left it last night. Let's do this. Let's fix that. So it's right there at this point. There we are. So, let's see. What else? Nothing else? Anybody else want to see anything? IVB, you got anything you want to look at this morning? We can go after it. If not, I'll just keep on going through the happy to hump day rhythm as I normally do. And always willing to deviate off to some more fun stuff. All right, let's go check out Turkish Lira, because you can see on the spreadsheet, line 17, we fell into a daily sell there yesterday. That's always an interesting thing right there, just to see that happen. Dollar Lira, right there. And it's still moving down. Look at that. 3 days of hinky ashy red. Let's find it right here. Right there. There we are. 3 days of red dots. You can see that. Well, we had a volatility dot too. You can see it right there. And we're in the sell right there. Let's get that line in there. There you go. Now let's look at the weekly. The weekly is trying to drive itself down to the top of the time manifold. So we'll see what that is. Hey, Middle Age, how you doing? Could you take a look at the soybeans? Sure. Sure. Open sesame. And also at the same time, we have let's put them up on J4X too. Dukascopy does do soybeans. Let's see, right there, soybeans. You see the strength in there this morning. And let's take a look at our work too at the same time. You got some green going on there. There's Feb cattle. Let's go to sewer beans. Right there. There's no beans. And let's give it a refresh. Giving us a little volatility signal. Who knows? Maybe they're going to explode this baby up even higher. I guess the Chinese now, you know what? As the Chinese keep on getting caught in all this calamity that's going on, because the Chinese are right in the middle of it all. The $10 million a year contract that Biden got with them, and a piece of the ownership, 10% of the ownership. So, I mean, the Chinese right now are probably trying to think, like, how the hell do we get out of this mess? Let's buy more soybeans. Also, I did see something very fascinating. Sad. Let me see if I can find that headline. We're going to find that headline about food shortages in China. I thought they were supposed to be the second largest economy in the world. I don't understand this. How can they be like the second most industrialized nation in the world and have food shortages at the same time? I don't. That's really an odd enigma to me. I don't understand that part. What's up with that? Are they really a big, industrialized country? Or are they just like, some type of, like usual? To me, how I am. I see it as, the classic socialism goes nowhere. If socialism worked, there'd be a Soviet Union. That's the way I look at it. And there is no Soviet Union, so obviously it doesn't work. Let's see. I'm going to find that story in a few seconds here. And let's see. Let's see. I have it. I did save it. There it is. We're going to light that up. It's right there. And then we'll go back to the soybeans. Oh, you know what? Yeah. This is part of the soybean conversation. So don't worry, Muscle. We're coming back to it. I just want to show you this at the same time. There it is. There you go. Food shortages hit China. There is not enough fresh food to go around. Let's see, worldwide fit of hysteria over COVID, resulting in a shutdown of the world's economy, interrupting the supply chain and the destruction of food production, as well as international trade wars and natural disasters, are going to collide with one another and make this winter one of the toughest on record. China is publicly acknowledging a coming food shortage, but while many have dismissed my claims, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that China is now publicly acknowledging a coming food shortage. As noted in this article. Okay, here's another article. Let's see. Oh, a quick reminder of how Venezuela ran out of food. Does this look familiar? Sad but true. Okay, now let's go back to between the chaos and the strength here. You can see this. It did dip down a little bit on the weekly, but we've been in a weekly buy on soybeans for 8 weeks now, right there. You see that? We're in a daily buy. It didn't go into it. We've been in a daily buy since here. It hasn't really gone too far since the 15th. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a buy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 days in a buy. That gap is because of the data feed. It's hiding the weekend. It really drives me crazy. Thank goodness it doesn't hurt our math. But it looks stupid. You can see the weekends are right there. It's the day before the weekend or something like that. So you can see, that it's trying to lift up here, bouncing off the time manifold. You can see the weekly is a little weaker. It's dropped underneath the time manifold, but it doesn't look like it's going into any sell. Let's take a look at, let's go further out. Let's take a look at Jan beans right there. And you can see here, Jan beans looking the same way, same type of firmness. Actually, what I thought last night really caught my eye. That's the close of the 9th, where it closed at 1065.75. And last night it closed at 1063.75. So if they get this thing rolling along, let's go back over to the beanies. Okay, yeah, see, it's already done it. Because, see, no beans are trading live right now. So to close there right now is 1074 even, kind of like almost the highs of the day. And the last time it was that high was on the 9th, right there. It closed at 1065.50. So we're like, what is that? 9 cents. We're 9 cents over the last. It's like what is that? Let's take a look at it on J4X. It's been a while since it's been there. There's June. There's February. So we're looking at 1 year highs and then beyond, maybe. Look at that. When you look at J4X, okay, that was back in 2017, May of 17. I think that's May of 17, or no, May of 18. I guess that's May of 18. We were up in that territory, but we're higher now. So, we're seeing more strength, and I'm speculating. This is me speculating on the reason. Besides, we follow the quants. We don't really follow my personal opinion at all. But what it really comes down to is more than likely the Chinese are going to be needing to buy more. I think we need a bigger boat, like they said in Jaws, the movie. Let's see. Could you take a look at soybeans? Yeah. Agree with middle-aged muscle. Soybeans might be interesting to see. Yeah. That is because the centralized economy and not real economy. Right, exactly. I mean, not real free markets. Exactly. That's why I don't even look at the currency when everybody goes, how come you don't follow the yuan, the Chinese yuan? It's like it trades less than 1% in the world. So why would I want to watch the Cockroach Hotel, you know. Interesting article. Thanks for sharing. Hey, no problem. And so this is what we're all about here. We're, this is the electronic trading pit. Think of us all standing around in a pit right now, looking, offering and bidding, and we're just shooting the bull. And that's exactly how a trading pit looks. When there's no trading going on over a 2-minute period or 1-minute period, we're just shooting the bull about all kinds of different stories about what's going on. And that's what we do here. In this case here, we're a electronic pit, and we have to basically be proactive, not reactive. Whereas on the trading floor, you're reactive, so you can be shooting the bull, talking about all kinds of crazy stories. I can't tell you some of the strangest stories I've heard as a trader throughout the 15 or so years I was on a trading floor, 16 years on a trading floor. So I was on every major trading floor. I've heard a lot of weird stories from a lot of different exchanges. So that's a book, and people have said to me, "You've got to write that book." It's like, no, I don't got to write that book. But maybe when I'm really, really old, maybe I will write the stories of the the diary of an old floor trader or something like that. I'll call it, and when there were exchange floors, and the craziest stories, or something like that. That is why I learned hogs are also bullish. China is lacking food now. I get it. Thanks for sharing. IVB. Let's go over to hogs, because I've been the hogs are doing some really weird stuff right now. That's these hogs, okay? And you can see the lines up here in the quant. Let's reload that too. And that's still yesterday's trade. That's not today's trade. They're not showing us an update, and that's the front month. You can see that the histogram broke down a little bit like it did here before the next big move up. Now let me show you what February hogs look like, which catches my eye. See this action? It closed in a sell there yesterday, but the weekly is still strong, and it's been strong. So I agree with you. I know they had hog problems to begin with, so supposedly they lost an enormous amount of their crop of hogs. They're always doing that. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know. Anyway, but that's what's going on there now. You can see that action, and you can see that this is February hogs. So February hogs are not really lifting, but the weekly hasn't broke down. Whereas in the where's it at? What was that? Oh yeah, hogs. And so whereas on the deck hogs, the front month, it moved down a little bit this morning or last night. That was yesterday's close actually. But look at it; it's above the time manifold on the daily. The weekly is trying to lift up through the manifold now. Last night it did, and we're waiting to see what today's action brings. And they may be selling Febs, buying decks. That a spreading trade. Let's put it this way: February, the starvation thing will be relatively over with. Everybody will be starting to get fed, and and so forth. And so they sell Feb hogs, buy deck hogs, and you can see the spread is really starting to expand there. So. All right, what else do we got going on here? I'll get out of the hog area. If anybody wants to know more about the grains, just give a yell. We'll go back to the grains. And we'll go back to the currencies now. There's the Turkish Lira again, like I said. We'll see if it touches the manifold. The daily is now one full day. This is going on the second day now. It almost got in there right there. That was plus. So it'll be interesting to see if we get more than just 3 days of red dots. When's the last time we saw more than 3 days of a red dot? You can see there as we scroll back, it's been a while. There's 3 back in May. Okay, there we go. In that beginning sell-off here, we went into a sell-off in May, and it fell down pretty well. It was like a 40 handle move down. So we'll see. Maybe this thing will get its life again going. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's go over to Canadian, see what they're doing there. And there's the Canadian. Let's throw it up on J4X. And the beanies, look at them, looking firm. Looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. Yes, indeed. Trading places. And there you go. There's the Canadian. A little weak there. You can see a little red there going on. You can see the white line had pierced right here. So it is having its issues. You can see it's actually accelerating too because it's breaking the purple there. And we're in a, where is it? We're line 20 on the spreadsheet. Right there. And as you can see on the Canadian, we're in a daily sell right there. Let's throw a little line in there from yesterday. And you can see it was a relatively safe trade too for traders because we've been under all week long. All week long. Oh yeah, baby. And you can see the weakness is there. So we'll see. You know, it's breaking down the minus side of the time manifold. We kind of think that, you know, we've been saying that. We thought that this thing was going to have some strength. And now that the, you know, it's really weird how the Turkish Lira and the Canadian like to march together. And we saw the weakness kicking into the Turkish Lira, and we said, oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure the Canadian's going to find a way to go down too then. I guess it's a dollar thing. I'm not sure, but since they're both trading against dollars. But so the dollar is weak. I think it's just telling us, hey, we're weak. You know, it's a weak dollar. I think, you know, we were in a weekly buy for 4 weeks. Maybe we get into a weekly sell finally. Let's see where the product is today. There it is right there. Yeah, see that? It's, nah, look at that. The weekly's holding up. Let's give it a refresh. I think this is just profit taking for the victory of Trump. I really do. I think that this, look, there's money out there that knows better, okay? And they knew that what came out from Biden last Tuesday, you know, 8 days ago, they knew that that was going to have a major effect on the marketplace and the election and so forth. And so, I mean, Trump on, what's today? Wednesday, right? So Trump campaigned at 4 different events. 2 of them were Democrat districts. Yeah. Trump is out there campaigning in Democrat districts. You don't do that. Remember, I worked with Trump's campaign manager. We're friends for decades. And you don't, and trust me, you don't campaign in the middle of a heated campaign in the other candidate's district, you know, its strong point, if you're not already ahead. Okay? In other words, first rule in politics, shore up your base. Okay? That's the first rule. Shore up your base. And Trump is shoring up his base and campaigning in Democrat districts, it means put your foot on his neck. That's what that means. It means, in other words, Trump is slamming the door on Biden's even remote potential to look better or win more votes. He's slamming the door on it. Since Biden won't go out and campaign in those districts, Trump is going out there and campaigning in those districts. And trust me, that means a lot to some of those voters. I've been involved in politics a long time, and would you believe that there's like 3% of the population votes for the last name they see? They don't even care what the person does, who it is. They don't care. It could be Al Hitler. They would not, if they see Al Hitler as the last name and it's on the ballot, they actually vote Al Hitler. I mean, I am dead serious. There are people, we used to give out sponges with the candidates' names, you know, outside election boards, because we knew we could try to grab that 1 to 3% that might actually vote because they saw our candidate's name last. And sponges are like the cheapest thing you can give out. You can give out pencils with their name on it, you know, sponges, bottle was it jar openers, you know, something you could get 1,000 for, like, you know, dirt cheap with their name on it, the candidate's name, and we'd hand them out, and it would you could see it. It would affect the elections. So, you know, if Trump is out there right now campaigning in their districts, in Democrat districts, and he is in Wisconsin, he was doing it. He was doing it out in Arizona. If he's campaigning in Democrat districts, they've got the state won. They've got both those states won. Now what they're trying to do is slam the door down even harder, get maybe a congressman elected. Get more votes for some congressman, Republican congressman, because they're going to go, oh my God, Trump came out here for that guy George Smith. I guess I'll vote for Trump and George Smith. And they'll be, matter of fact, he asked the people in Wisconsin, how many are registered Democrats? And they started raising their hands. It was like, yeah, he said, welcome. Thank you for coming to my event. You're not going to see this stuff in the media. And so it's going to have an effect on our marketplace. Trust me. So anyway, right now we are seeing the markets. Matter of fact, I put this down in our one of our webinars last week that the market now is taking a profit from the Trump victory. I actually labeled something like that on the YouTube. That's exactly what the markets are doing now. They're taking profits from the victory. They know it's a victory, and so that's what we're actually seeing. It's crazy, but without a solid media anymore, you can't tell what the hell's going on. It's like crazy. Oh, review protection options for your fur babies. So anyway, that's where we are there. Now let's jump over to. Anybody want to see anything else? Let's see. Where are we at now? We're looking at. We were looking at the dollar. Yes, because Canadian is acting well. See that there on the J4X. All right. Now let's go back to the Canadian right there, and you can see the same action going on there. It's the same stuff. Let's see. Let's see. I just see some Dukascopy stuff coming through my my Skype. There you are. Okay. All right. So, where's next? I guess we could take a look at NASCAD. See what the NASCAD's doing. More than likely, I would assume it's going down. Oh, what's the Robin got to say? Hey, Robin. Say hello to the world.
Ready to do the Xana dance, victory dance.
Xanadana victory dance. Oh, for the Trumpster?
No.
Okay.
For Johnny Moore, who just took 5 contracts.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, he farms a little bit, but he's 79 years old.
Uh-huh.
And if you guys can't see your discount, I go listen.
Sure. I'm a sucker. I'm glad you're not. I'm so glad you're not.
Well, I said to him, I go, look, we charge 140 for 5 for the first month.
Right.
I'm going to just leave you with 140.
Oh, that's nice. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, just tell him to leave it in the estate and tell him to keep on buying it after he's gone. Right. Oh, yeah.
But he's putting it on. He said, boy, did I have to go back to school.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Oh, you mean he's actually assembling it. Okay. All right. Let me. So we're going to go with the Canadian dollar there. So there you go. The NASCAD, and so you can see that there. That's really good stuff. It keeps you young. And so, and then let's take a look at it on J4X.
If you only get it one time of the day and then it charges in the battery, what are you wasting your time?
Right, exactly.
I would love it if I could have those. I can't have them because I live in an association.
Right, yeah, associations can do that to you.
They don't let you do dick. They won't even let you put it in.
NASCAD. There you go. And so there's the NASCAD on the J4X. And you can see it's trying to lift up too, right there. But we've been seeing some movement down.
They bitch, moan, and complain about everything. And then they don't do their job.
That's so cool. And so sad at the same time. All right, Robin, let me finish off the webinar and I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, so there we are. So you can see this nice big bounce today. Let's refresh that. Maybe that's a sign that the oil is trying to lift. I saw oil. The weekly was down, like still trying to bend down, and the daily was trying to turn up. And so we always think that the Canadian goes down, the Canadian dollar itself goes down against the U.S. dollar, In other words, it makes money. It becomes more dear, more valuable when oil is going up. So let's jump over to oil, and we'll take a look at that at the same time. There's the oil. We'll throw it up on J4X too. There's deck oil. Yeah, you can see now deck oil is down. It was up this morning, and now it's moving down. And you can see the weekly is trying to pierce here. Matter of fact, I think I'll put the little circly thing in there just to keep an eye on it like that. So, there we are. And so you can see here it's trying to get into the weekly sell. It's below it for a day or two now. And you can see the daily, not too much. It's trapped in an inside range. The high last night was interesting. It got up into the 41.59 area. And then yesterday itself, it got up to 41.90. Almost kicked 42. So we'll see what they do with that if it tries to turn. Now, let's go back. Let's see. You can see it here. This is trying to move up on J4X, but it's still red. And you can see, we're green right there. But this, by the end of the day, may start to turn up. You can see the lines are trying to turn up. It's trying to break the dashed line here. Remember, the Hinky-Ashi is a lagging indicator. It's not a leading indicator, whereas this is a leading indicator down below. So you can see the strength is already starting to jump out. And unfortunately, it's been kind of reddish. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong thing. Let's go back to that right there. There it is. That's better. And so you can see here, there's the red too, with the same as the Hinky-Ashi. And you can see we did have a volatility dot here for that slam. And now it seems like it's trying to get into the buy and lift up. And a lot of times oil does follow, the NASCAD. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, this has a lot of work to do. You can see here the white line is so buried. And you can see it's below the time manifold there. Let's save that. I just made it thicker. And you can see here let's put the zero line in there. There's the zero line. And so, there's your zero line. You can see this needs to turn up. And maybe if this would take out the high here, we'd start to see this thing start to lift. It's going to have to do some work in here. We need to see it get going along there. So, no other questions, huh? Okay. We'll just keep on rolling along here. Rolling with the homies. And that was an enthusiastic Robin. Let's see. What else is there? Okay, so that's pretty much the way we look at the currencies. Let's see what ruble's doing. Biden really, and Mrs. Clinton really hurt the Russian Federation. So, it's a matter of, you can see here, it's starting to move down. We keep on thinking that the ruble is going to be much lower someday. We do think that economy has abilities way more than the Chinese economy. As far as I'm concerned, if I was an international hedge fund, I would be investing in the Russian Federation more than I would be with China. I kind of think that this is the real game right there. Sooner or later, the laws are going to be straightened out over there, and companies are going to have, and individuals are going to have more rights, and they'll be more protected and so forth, and commerce will be able to grow. And you can see here, this is just touching the top of it. It's been in a weekly buy for a while too. Let's scrunch that puppy up. You can see since basically the beginning of July, the end of June. I'm sorry, June. So it's went a good 10 handles and went from 70 to 80, and we'll see. I just kind of think it has always great potential to the ruble. All right, where else do we go? Let's see what the Zolti's doing, since no one's asking any questions here. The Zolti, again, stuck in a really nice range. Let's put it up on J4X, the Zolti. The Zloty is a very impressive currency. It's the Polish currency, and we follow it because Poland is now the second largest industrial nation on the continent, and I think population-wise, it's like number 10 or 11 or something like that. It's not very big. So, for it to be the second largest industrial nation means they're doing something right there. And you can see when you look at the currency, it's been trapped in a nice tight range Boy, I remember when the Turkish Lira was in the fours, in the threes like this. It's been caught in a nice tight range for a long while. You can see that all the way back to 2017, the low fours. Now it's in the mid fours. Just a little high end of the range. It's 457 and change. So I mean, the currency is very stable, very very powerful industrial nation doing very positive stuff economically. So, like not like China. China's currency is just a frozen popsicle with less than one. I think they trade more zloty a day than they trade. Was it Chinese yuan? We have to look that up, but I would have to believe that's true. If it's the second largest industrialized nation in the continent, it has to be trading, way more. I'm sure it's trading maybe 2 or 3% of the world's currency. It's probably trading 3 times the amount of currency that the Chinese yuan trades. And again, when you have a media that's all hyped up on the socialism, communism thing, and they love it, you don't get the real story there. All right. So there's the Zolti. And you can see it's been in a weekly buy since here. And it went from the mid 40s up to the high 50s. Almost it touched 60 there. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's not death defying. It's not like it's going from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 like the Turkish Lira. Oh my God. So we'll see what's going on there. All right, now, and also that's against the Zolty. I mean, against the euro. So the strength in the euro is showing up. Let's just show you the euro again. The euro has been relatively firm throughout all this. They sell it down to 16 a little bit, but overall, the strength of it's gone from 112, up to 120. So obviously, it's more because of the strength of the euro more than anything else. All right. Now we can go back to, or we can take a look at oil. Let's take a look at that again. Now that we've shown you what we relate to when we see oil, you can see here it's trying, and we've put this little warning in there. Let's take a look at silver. Silver's at the highs of the day. Let's give it a little refresh. It's like 3 or 4 days in a buy. But the weekly is really having a hard time getting going there. Now, you can see that, it's ever since we had the big run, our math caught all that big run, which was really cool. And, from the $11 and $12 area all the way up to the $30 area, basically. Now let's take a look at gold. Gold is acting interesting here. I can put a little oval. I know it's early. Usually it's Thursday, like that. And we'll just move it over. What's up with that? There we are. You can see here gold is, let's see if we can make that wider. That's all. What's up with that? I keep on grabbing the wrong thing. There we go. Go like that and bring it down. And then move it over. What in blazes? Let's get this thing going right there. There we are. Now I just want to move it over. One. No, I don't want to play with it. I just want to move it. There we go. Okay, that'll be fine. There we go. We got it there. It's emphasizing the fact that it's through the zero line. As a matter of fact, not only are we going to emphasize it that way, we're going to do this at the same time. We'll widen it like that. There we are. And you can see it getting across the zero line there. And at the same time, we're in the daily buy. We've had 2 volatility signals. We talked about that a couple of days ago. This thing we thought maybe it would run $30 or $40. So far, the high is what, 31. And it's coming from the, I guess the close there of 06 with an 01 low. So we're pretty much almost to the end of this, possibly, unless they start to get into it. I don't know. Maybe you know how metals are. Sometimes they anticipate inflation and things like that. So let's see. Oh, let's see what we got here. So IVB says, I guess I need to pay more attention on the Zolti. I don't. I guess if it's so hard to say. I think it's a good product. I don't. I don't. I don't. I did trade it a few times a couple years ago when I started paying attention to it. It is a good product, and it has two markets, which is really odd. It has this European market, and then when the European market, London close occurs, then there's like this whole different market that kicks out the second half of the day in the U.S. hours. So don't try to trade it as one full day. It's almost like it trades two different. It's like 2 days in one all the time. It's really interesting. I remember that. I haven't looked at it in a while, but that's the way it trades. Okay, so I never looked at it before as a tradable. Yeah, I mean, they're active. I mean, let's put it this way: it's a lot easier to trade that than it is that yuan thing that the Chinese have. I mean, it's much better. So, and they are, they got fundamentals. You could probably get your teeth into some of the fundamentals and try to commingle the technical with the fundamentals. Yeah, I mean, they are they keep on pushing France into the third position of industrialization. It's really funny. France is like the second largest nation in Europe, and I think Poland is like number 8 or 9 in population. And then what they do is they keep on pushing the France into this third position of industrialization. I guess that's that socialist gig that's going on there with Macron. Yeah. Okay. All right. From there, we will go to. What else do we look at in here? Oh, let's take a look at platinum. Since no one's asking for anything, there's platinum. Platinum's been a weekly sell for a while too, and you can see it here. It's trying to go after the buy. It's been a daily buy for 4 days. This is the 5th day. And we went into the sell in here this week out of all this stuff, confirmed it on the close, and then they played with it up in here, and then they sold it hard down, and you can see it was down, 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 down. Matt, I'll tell you this: we were looking at it here, and it was climbing, and we're like, okay, so yeah, it got back into the buy here, but we saw the weekly so buried that we didn't take this move too serious, and boy, look at that. A 4-day trade after that, oh man, it fell from 992 high down to a 863 low. What's that? $127. Huh, man, what a smackadoodle that was. Not counting the next 3 days, they've drove it down to a low of 829 from 992. Wow. I mean, that's smackadoodle city. 160 some odd points. Dollars, and then they went back into the buy here. But you can see here we're starting to do some positive action. The weekly is trying to get through the zero line. Let's put that zero line in there. There's the zero line. You can see it's trying to get there. It's battling. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, there we are. As you can see there, thank you for telling me. Let's see. And France will sink due to that super mega huge tax. No, to super rich. I mean, 50% or something like that. Yeah, I guess, what was it? That one actor that I like, Padu, something or another. He moved out of France, right? They were like devastated when that happened. And, it's socialism just doesn't work. I mean, if it did, the Soviet Union would be here right now. China would not. China would be number 1 if it worked. The only reason China's big is we kept on investing and they kept on buying our politicians. So I mean, our politicians, some of them can be cheaper by the dozen. So, China kept on getting, more and more. I mean, they got to a point where we were buying $500 billion worth of goods and services from them a year. That's a lot of money. I mean, really. And so, Mr. Trump comes along and says, he builds these skyscrapers. And, he's a builder. Trump the builder. Like Bob the builder. And so, you should see Ivanka drive a forklift. He's all his children. They may look smooth, but he's trained them. They can do electrical work. They can weld. They can drive forklifts. They can drive backhoes and bulldozers. He's has them. This way they understand what the business is. The family businesses, and so they Trump was saying he got involved in it because he was tired of like buying steel from China, and it was junk. He kept on saying skyscraper steel is junk, so he's having to like reinforce it and bring in architects to restructure it, and it was like really. He said junk sand or something like that. They're using poor materials to make their steel. So and it goes. Was it then I guess they import it into Mexico, and then Mexico sells it to the United States. So it's like, Trump's like, you know what? Let Mexicans build a steel industry, and we'll just buy it directly from them, and it'll be much more quality. So he's a character. Guy's a character. So, all right. Anyway, that's platinum. Let's go take a look at the stock indices before we get out of here. And we looked at them a little earlier. You can see the stock indices are basically just sideways down or sideways, that type of thing. Buy the rumor, sell the news, and the news is that the Trumpy is going to win because Biden will. I don't think he'll be locked up, but I mean he's locked himself up in the basement, so he's not campaigning. Supposedly Obama's out there campaigning for him in Philadelphia today, but that shows you how desperate things are. Excuse me. So what should we call this webinar today? Buy the rumor, sell the news? I think that's what we should call it. That seems like the good title today. It's the way I look at it. Buy rumor, sell news. Yeah, I think that's going to be the title. All right. Anyway, see, you like that, huh? I know, and that's a good one, So, because that's exactly what we're seeing. I think that would have been the better title last Tuesday when I saw what happened with the laptop. Now that there's a second laptop. Oh, what's really bad is the FBI has had custody of this thing since December 5th of last year. And these guys are doing their best to destroy their own agency at this point. It's like, what's up with these people? Are they losing their minds or what? Anyway, this is Doc from North America. Happy to hump day. Tomorrow's Thursday. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading